And Are You Okay is a not safe for work podcast, so any young listeners are discouraged from continuing. However, we literally have no way to track that, so do whatever the hell you want and enjoy the show.
Out to, and it's basically like Lord of the Ring instrumentals, and every time I'm supposed to be relaxing on that, but every time it gets to that part I get so hyped, bro, let's storm the gates, come on.
I'm riding for Rohan right now. I am riding for Rohan.
1000%, bro. Full tilt riding for Rohan right now, bro.
I'm fighting like second breakfast is on the line right now, you know what I'm saying?
Fact. The 11 Z's is on the line right now, bro. We ride at dawn.
Man. We ride at dawn.
Gondor calls for aid. Oh man! Now I'm probably gonna watch. Now I'm probably gonna end up watching Lord of the Rings after this.
I know you are.
I don't know when or where, but at some point we have to do like a Lord of the Rings rewatch and put it out.
Oh yeah,
put it out for content.
For sure,
I don't know where that shit will live.
I don't know where, but it's gonna happen. And somewhere on the podcast, you know, I rewatched Rings of Power season 2 back. Yeah, it's as good as we thought it was.
Yeah, and with the conclusion, because I remember when season 1 had dropped out, and we was like, yeah, there's like technically hundreds of years between where Lord of the Rings or where The Hobbit starts and that ends, but we was just like 5 seems like a lot. But the way now that I kind of see where 2 is leading into 3, they could definitely get 5 seasons out of this show. For sure, because they could do like the first Elven War where they get their ass whooped, and then they could do when they team up with the men. And then the final season could be that final fight, like literally the start of the movie. So it all works out. Pacing is everything.
It truly is, and they got the cast to make it all work. So I'm not even worried about that. The acting in that show is just top notch.
I would love. I feel like they're probably gonna do it. So this isn't me like coming up with the idea, but I would love if Halbrand / Sauron's like a different incarnation every season. Like I feel like that would be fire. Like obviously the 5th one he would be like the Witch King version with the big helmet,
the full on Sauron.
Yeah. So,
with a big old mace.
Exactly. And I know like in the lore he's like a wolf version at some point. Don't really want that. Like I don't know how that would work for him to be like a series regular. Like unless he could like change between human and the wolf.
Unless he could be like a wolfman pirate, like the Wolfman pirate from Skeleton Crew.
There you go.
Upcoming Disney Plus series.
Oh, what a segue.
With 2 episode drop on December 3rd.
Yeah, these most we'll get into it because that's why we're here. But these most recent trailers have got me 6 to midnight, bro.
Dude, someone said, why is my dick getting bigger? No, that's a joke from last week. But
that's the new sounder when we get hype about something.
Yeah, it's the new bit. But someone at Lucasfilm was like, oh, what does this button do? And it just was like full-on marketing for Skeleton Crew. They were like radio silent, and now there's like everything's coming out of the woodwork. They're dropping all the content to get people hyped for it. They had some obviously some screeners are out to like the advanced audience, you know, some of the like content creators that they did like, you know, episode roundtables and stuff like that already. I haven't got a chance to like watch all of that, but definitely saw the directors roundtable that Star Wars put out themselves. And oh my gosh, how could we continue without saying you're listening to And Are You Okay?
A Star Wars podcast.
a Star Wars podcast. I am Mikey the illest, Mikey Two Shoes, the human holocron himself, Darth Plagueis, the Be Mind Rewise.
We're working on it.
I hit it. I'm trying. We're workshopping it still. If someone has a suggestion, I'll take it.
Floating it around, floating ideas around.
And I'm joined with my co-hostess to the most hostess, the Rogue One, the Rogue Only, Matthew Porter, aka
Matt Talk Skywalker. For today, I'm retiring being the main of the gray hoodie gang because I'm not wearing a gray hoodie. I'm wearing a blue hoodie. So I'm going to be known as Mr. Blue Harvest, aka something Black Side.
Damn, dude. I can't even compete with that.
Just came up with that just now.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
It's a thirst trap.
Matthew Porter coming to a city near you.
Word. 69 showings, limited edition. Be there or be square.
Hide your ladies, hide your wives, hide your girlfriends. Nobody is safe from the Riz. Okay.
The false are strong with this one.
That's definitely like how it would be like a monster truck commercial, like Sunday, Matthew Porter, the Blue Harvest, something Black Side. Like girls in the background being like, oh yeah, you can smoke cigarettes inside, you can smoke cigarettes outside.
Only 69 showings. Get your tickets now. Wait, the force is long with this one.
Oh, nice.
Double entendre, don't ask me how. Why's my dick getting bigger?
Why's my dick getting bigger?
That literally is my favorite thing. Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, childhood, me 25 years ago, I was quite scared, but now I get it.
What's funny? I feel like the less ready we are to start, the better the intros are.
Always. For those who don't know, I usually have a show itinerary, and this time I just said, watch all these commercials for Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, it's mad attachments, baby. We live, we hot.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get into it. I think one big thing both of us felt we wanted to talk about was just a lot of Jod in this trailer. Jude Law himself, we're kind of like getting to know him a little better. I'm feeling pretty strong about my theory that this man is not a Jedi in any way, shape, or form, but a smuggler with a heart of gold who is trying to live up to what these kids think he is based off of his trickery. How are you feeling? Do you think that he's got some force sensitivity to him, or do you think we're dealing with a pirate over here? So
I'm straddling the fence because I feel like with this trailer, when they were like, you are a Jedi, right? And he was like, what do you say? Like, of course. Something along those lines. Mm-hmm. With a little wing and knot. But I kind of took it as maybe I still am capping for Hondo, and I would love for him to have been.
I want it so bad.
Damn, what the fuck did I call Order 66 last week? Shit, I don't remember, but it had to do with this inefficiency. Right, but anyway, I'll go back and listen so we can get the stream.
Order Misty Miss.
Oh, Order didn't stick. That's what it was.
There you go.
Order didn't stick. I kind of would like if he was like maybe a Jedi who, when all that happened, didn't get in really into the weeds of training, and maybe he was supposed to be a Jedi, and he's just kind of living. He's Uncle Rico. He's trying to live off his old glory.
Like a youngling that was like, I'm going to be a Jedi, and then walked into the temple and he's like,
hit the fan.
Turned around and was like, we out.
Yeah, like somebody who was super fresh in the process and had to be whisked off into hiding, to get away from this genocide. It's
if they show us another Order 66, I think it might be just a staple of Star Wars television at this point. It just has to be.
It's
Hey,
the Nexus.
you
It's the
got a
Nexus
show,
point.
you get an Order 66, flashback. That's just how it works here.
Order 66 is the anchor being of the Star Wars universe.
Oh, wow! I
It's
never
a
really
Nexus.
thought about it that way. It's the Nexus moment.
It's
Yeah.
a Nexus point. Yeah. Like his whole, like, of course, I kind of took that as like, oh, maybe he like was supposed. You know how I read it? Weirdly enough, it gave me the same type of feeling of episode 2, where one of Padme's security guards had referred to Anakin as Master Jedi, and Padme was just like, "Oh, he's just a Padawan. He's not a Master yet." I kind of took it like that. Like maybe Jad was like on his way to becoming a Jedi. Shit went left, and he was just like, I should be stronger. They're holding me back. It's always Obi-Wan's fault. Like, it's always
always.
Should have got to the temple sooner. Like that's what it's his fault. So I'm still kind of leaning more towards the side of that. Like he was at the temple. He is a force sensitive person. Maybe might be closed off from the force because he's been gone from it for so long, and maybe like protecting these kids gives him purpose and like
It would be funny
reignite.
if he treats the Force kind of like a party trick. Like he's like it flows through him, but it very much is just like, yeah, I use this to help me get out of jail when I'm.
I would love that. That would be amazing. Like if for somebody who like is force sensitive, that's just kind of like, fuck the dogmatic view of the Jedi. I'm just gonna like use this to like win at dice.
Yeah, right. Oh my god, a gambling addict with the Force. Okay, Qui-Gon. Okay,
I'm just saying.
I see you.
I'm just saying. I feel like that would have been. I feel like that'd be like a really awesome, different take with like something that we're so familiar with. That this is like somebody who didn't get to be a Jedi. Because weirdly enough, you kind of stumbled onto like a very interesting conversation, and I guess like the drinking of the Kool-Aid has a lot to do with this. I feel like a lot of the people who survived Order 66, even the younglings, like they still find themselves like attached to the Order. Like they're still like, even in their like banishment, they're still like, Jedi adjacent in some way, shape, or form. Even like
I feel like I can explain that away by it's the only life they knew. So
right.
They feel like they have to embody that. But for someone who's maybe like, I think obviously different personalities, have a different way of like coming about things. The younger a Jedi would be leaving the Order, probably would be more normalized into whatever environment that they
like Kanan,
right?
Like Kanan still like he hid a lot of his shit, but he like moved on, kinda like went to like live the life. So it's like I would like to see that if Jad was like, like you just said, that's a perfect explanation. Like they're so indoctrinated into that, that's all they know. So like getting torn away from that, they just kind of still hold on to it. I would love to see somebody who's just like, hey, like, well, that part of my life is over. Time to move boot and rally. Time to do something else.
We do this a lot, but it would not surprise me in the slightest if, to quote your favorite phrase, Disney's gonna Disney, if we got a Star-Lord type situation and maybe Jad escaped Order 66 by fleeing with pirates who were willing to save him.
Our boy Hondo.
Well, so the only reason I will say it's not Hondo is because like Hondo was like, you could be a pirate Jedi to Ezra, and that would have been several years after.
Maybe that's what led him to be like, you can do both.
You know what? Actually, from a timeline standpoint, it could line up. It could line up. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, you know what? Fuck it. Like he could be.
Like maybe Jad was like the guinea pig to like, oh yeah, Pirate Jedi could work.
We do know Hondo has a soft spot for the younglings.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
It definitely is possible, and I'd love to see it. Very interesting. I like how much he's interacting with the children. Should be like really interesting. The kids got a lot of screen time in the trailers, and obviously a little more now. They are the main characters, but I'm really feeling like they picked a good group of kids.
Neil is about to steal the show, bro.
Oh, for sure. Neil Neil Nation exists. Like on social media, like the Star Wars fandom has taken Neil in and is like, oh yeah, like we're doing this.
It's such a reused trope, like just across media, period, not even just animated or fantasy, but like anytime you have a character where like naturally you don't see their mouth, and then when you do see their mouth, it's just the funniest shit ever. Like I just think it's always hilarious. Like just seeing in one of the trailers, like when they were like freaking out and Neo was screaming and his trunk's kind of up, and you see him, I just found that to like just be the funniest shit ever. Like anytime you see a character's mouth who you don't typically see their mouth, it's just funny as shit.
It's so great. And
or eyes, or like when their eyes aren't regularly seen, and then you see their eyes, you're like, you have eyes.
Yeah. So, ironically enough, this time around, I actually don't have a lot to talk about in terms of the kids. It was just kind of like, the shots we saw were very similar. You can get the vibe of the story is like they're in danger, right? Like, and the danger is very real, and how they react and are going to have to go through that is really what sounds like is going to carry the story based off the director's roundtable. I did want to take a few moments just to talk about the directors for a second before I dive into which will probably be the final point of this episode. The directors roundtable consisted of John Watts, David Lowery, Jake Schreier, also he didn't direct an episode, but he co-wrote it, Christopher Ford, and then Bryce Dallas Howard was there. Did I say that already?
Yeah, no, you didn't, but you didn't say Bryce.
So,
we love Bryce.
We do love Bryce. Give Bryce a movie, honestly, at this point. He's directed enough Star Wars.
I'll say them Howards don't miss when it comes to directing.
They don't. So they've assembled just quite the crew here of directors, the one guy,
Daniels who did Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Crazy.
The guy from Beef.
For Beef.
Yeah, Beef. Yeah.
David Lowery just did the Peter Pan reboot with.
Oh yeah, what is it? Peter Pan and Wendy. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, I think
that was really good. And that was okay. But I'm like, Peter Pan's kind of like one of my favorite Disney characters, so I was like super critical of it, but it was good. I like the twist that they did with Jude Law as Captain Hook. The twist that they did, I almost spoiled on shit, even though the shit came out like 2 years ago, but it was good.
I'll tell you right now, I wasn't gonna watch it, so
that's fine. If I wasn't as into Peter Pan as I was, I wouldn't have watched it either.
Yeah. John Watts having done the Spider-Man Homecoming trilogy, definitely like the vibe of his movie, like the vibe of all of those things, honestly, like
1000%. Everything Everywhere All at Once literally is probably one of the greatest movies I've ever seen in my life.
I was gonna say I haven't watched it, but everyone I talked
You've never seen that movie?
Yes, I know. I really need to get out more. And also, one of the other directors who is for some reason isn't listed on IMDb, the director of Minari, he's helming an episode, and he also did an episode of The Mandalorian in season 3. Something Isaac. I'm just blanking.
something Isaac. Name of this episode.
Something Isaac. Yeah. So normally I have all these things together, and then I just write them down, but today I said nope. I said we're coming in.
See, what Anakin say? We're coming in too hot.
Isaac Chung, thank you for ad-libbing while I was trying to frantically find it on IMDb. I appreciate.
I got you, brother.
But all of them are bringing like something really cool and interesting to the table, I think. So I'm excited to see what each of them, like their stamp on Star Wars looks like. Obviously we know Bryce Dallas Howard, like she's weirdly, and I don't know if this is weirdly as much as it is like she leans into it a lot, is all of her episodes of The Mandalorian have been super action packed.
Look who her dad is.
True.
Yo, the fact, bro, by one, that's why we vibe so much. That's still one of those like things in life that like my brain won't let me connect, that like Ron Howard and Richie Cunningham are the same person. And he's also fucking Opie off of fucking damn, what the fuck was that shit? The Andy Griffin Show? Like it just those things just don't register to me that's the same. Of the sound, it's the same guy. Even though I know it is, but it's also because like I grew up like Nick at Night was like, as a kid, Nick at Night was like my shit. Like that's what I went to bed to. Brady Bunch, Three's Company, like Happy Days was like my shit. Like the Fonz was like idolized for me. Like for like as a 1000%. Henry Winkler, my fucking guy. So yeah, so like once I found that out, I don't remember the time, but I do remember like finding out they were the same person. I was like, get the fuck out of here. like figuring out that Bryce Dallas Howard was his daughter. Also a moment I was like, oh shit. I love her.
Yeah. So we know like her episodes will probably be action packed, but I'm sure the rest of them have their own, fun, quick storytelling. I feel like is what it's going to take. This isn't confirmed, I don't think, but I saw leaked. There's one episode that's only 17 minutes long.
Get the fuck out of here. That's nuts.
I was like, are you really?
Oh, yeah. I guess because usually TV shows, streamers, like 30-minute shows are really like what, 24 minutes? That's wild. 17.
Yeah, but still, that's 17 is bad. Like to me, that's like what. You better be dropping 2 episodes that week. Is what I'm. That's
gonna be the premiere. The 2 episodes, two 17-minute episodes.
I hope not. Like to have a shorter runtime than an animated show to me is pretty baffling.
Yeah, 17 minutes is wild. Like especially because Disney.
Wrong. I'll just say it right now. Hopefully that's wrong.
Yeah, especially because so what I'm about to say, I'm not saying the thing that I'm about to say is bad because it's good. But what I'm going to say is, especially because, Disney tries to be like super inclusive with the end credits and does it in like 6 different languages. That takes up like 5 minutes of the runtime. So it's like, damn, 17 minutes. How much of that is just the credits?
Good question, Matt.
Crazy.
Hopefully we don't have to find out. We'll see though. But that director roundtable, I think they really set the tone talking about how from a plot standpoint, like the kid being in danger and what makes the Amblin films work is really just about, you're not dumbing it down for a kid audience. Like the show is being made for adults and the protagonists just happen to be children.
I loved that part. I was going to bring that up if you did.
Yeah. So that to me was really important for kind of like, I'm not going to lie, I already kind of felt like that was the tone they were going for, like a Stranger Things, but in the Star Wars universe. But it's making me even more excited to see, the story that they're about to tell and how it kind of fits into the Mando timeline and what we might be dealing with in terms of maybe these characters won't have longevity, but maybe the time we do spend with them is going to be really fun and really special, even if only like Jod comes out to be a bigger player in the rest of this part of the timeline, because there's definitely going to be like a New Republic presence. You can see a bunch of X-Wings in the trailers. So there's a lot of potential connective tissue and how the pirates like play into things. And they made a point to say that in one of the roundtable interviews, they were talking about how like the pirates have a heavy presence right now because the New Republic is still kind of like fumbling over itself and the Empire doesn't exist anymore.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, right. As if we haven't been complaining about that for the last like 3 shows.
I feel like I've asked you this question probably 4 or 5 times, and this will be my last time. Canonically, is this after the most recent season of Mandalorian?
Has that been my assumption? Is that
okay, but it's
after Ahsoka in the timeline.
Gotcha. It hasn't been officially said though, but I know you were saying that the releases are usually like kind of lined up in order. Gotcha.
That's what I'm assuming, and that's how it's kind of been, right?
Because I could see Jod being a big player in the worst titled Star Wars movie of all time, Mandalorian and Grogu. I really hope that there's still time for them to fix that because it's so bad.
I doubt it. It's too late.
I know. Especially with the success of Deadpool and Wolverine, like it's like, oh yeah, let's keep the hand in there. Fuck it, Epitaph, ruin everything. Could have had a better.
I wonder if the opening credits will have a Backstreet Boys song to combat Deadpool and Wolverine.
No word.
Doubtful. Anything from the director's roundtable that you wanted to, for sure, that you wanted to kind of touch on more before we move on to my last topic here?
I thoroughly enjoyed that, even though it was only 11 minutes. Like I thought that was really awesome. Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what? I did want to bring up something. I was super excited about this actually. at the last couple minutes, when they were basically talking about like the why they wanted to make this show, and I think John Watts and Bryce were talking about this, and they were essentially kind of just saying that they wanted to make a show that showed that it knew enough that it would appeal to the hardcore Star Wars fans, but was like fun, but was fun enough to invite new fans in and then let them just commune and love the same thing and be friends
together.
And I was that's literally the whole purpose of why we do these things. Like with DB4L, with Annie, Are You Okay? Like just hearing them say that that's the reason for the show just like warmed my heart, because like that's what we're actively trying to do with our podcast.
And they even made a comment about like, you know, these kids are getting lost in the galaxy, and for someone who's been engrossed in Star Wars their whole life, they might be making decisions where you're like, no, don't do that. Like that's the exact opposite of what you want to be doing. But that's going to add to the fun because they're experiencing it for the first time, just like new viewers might be experiencing it for the first time, but we can still have fun watching them make all these mistakes, knowing what is in store for them because we're such nerds about the franchise. And I think that that's going to be really fun. I've already heard that there's like a ton of Easter eggs in this show for like avid watchers, and the Story Group always takes care of you in that sense. Like, I don't know if you recall, but Luthen's shop was just like filled with a bunch of
so much shit.
So much shit. And it's a good segue actually, because the last thing I wanted to talk about was the difference in tone from a show like Andor. You had very few aliens to Skeleton Crew, which seems to be
all the aliens.
The amount of puppetry work, the animatronics, the different species. There's like species that I'm seeing pop up and I'm like, holy shit, like I think this is like a deep cut from the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars. Like I don't know if this has even been in live action yet. Like these are like
you just got your The Wise tag back with that one.
like, they're pulling stuff from fucking like Ewok Adventures out here and all these other random things, and I'm like, oh shit, like the Wolfman from the Cantina was obviously like, I'm hyped to see that come back. But there's even a new species, I think, like an owl guy, who I'm just like, okay, like let's go. I'm here for bird people. Like I don't think we've quite seen that yet, so I'm really excited to kind of see like what. I feel like every episode is just going to be one big Cantina moment, and that could be really fun. And I think like seeing that embraced through the pirates as well seems like it could be a really good time. And then I don't know if you noticed, but there's quite a few. They've been like using the shot a lot in like the TV spots of the droid SM-33 Smee, as you know, we're probably going to end up calling
Smee,
boxing the shit out of something.
I saw that.
I'm excited to see him kind of like roundhouse a few people. I gotta ask you, Matt, like how does that feel to you? What excites you the most? I'm sure it's a lot of pulpiness, but like how much are you gonna fuck with that aspect of the show, and how much does that excite you?
Oh, 1000%. I do want to say that it's hilarious that robot's like affectionate nickname is Smee, and Jude Law played Captain Hook. So it's like, I wonder if that was done intentionally. I feel like it probably was. I'm gonna say it was just because of my love of Peter Pan. I will say that it was. I'm super excited because we've talked about this so many times that, you know, Star Wars can tend to treat this galaxy like a smaller sandbox than what they should, and we've been clamoring for different races of aliens for forever. Like, you know, we've talked about like, hey, you guys like revisit the same kind of race of aliens all the time. Let's get some new people in here. So seeing all these different types of characters, I'm super excited. I'm loving the reuse of practical effects into the Star Wars universe. I'm super loving that. I've told you all the time. I've told the Animaniacs all the time. The disenfranchised youth searching for their way in the universe is like my favorite type of movie. So it's like this show was made for me. I'm just hyped. I'm just hyped. But something that I will say to what you just said, and I don't even know if this was done intentionally because I don't know when this show went into production versus The Acolyte, but having a show that could potentially unite the fan base, come off the heels of a show that caused such division in the fan base, with the Acolyte being so divisive. I feel like it's going to be like a welcoming change of pace. And this isn't coming from somebody who was anti-Acolyte, because I fucked with the Acolyte.
Yeah, me too. I loved it.
Yeah, and I know you too. I was very happy about it, and I'm bummed that it's not getting a season 2, because there's definitely some stories there that I feel like are worth exploring. But for them to end with that, in that round table, saying that, you know, like, oh, hey, we can all become friends, even if you're like new or old, like having that be the basis that the show is built off of, coming from, you know, how nasty and, you know, bigotry-ish it got with the Acolyte, is just like, this was a really well timed moment for the fan base, because I felt like it was getting a little politically inclined amongst
it is getting. I don't even want to call it politically. We can just call it bigotry. That's what we were experiencing in the fandom.
It was getting nasty.
And I'm going to say this. I doubt that the kids are going to do a bad job. But even if they do, Lucasfilm, you protect these fucking kids, man. Yeah, like they're kids. Like, and if you're talking shit on them, or like reaching out via social media just to like say your displeasure with the show, it's like, fucking, they're kids, man. Like, let them be. We saw what happened to Jake Lloyd. Like, we don't need to see that stuff again. You know, there's been enough bullying of adult Star Wars actors. I definitely don't want to see it happen to the kids. I'm really hopeful that, you know, people grow the fuck up and that doesn't happen. I'm sure we will have quite a bit of toxic vitriol from that group of the fandom, because they like to act like they're fans still for some reason, even though apparently Star Wars hasn't been made for them in the last 10 years. You'd think they give up at that point, but
it's been all for you.
It has. You just have to choose what you like to interact with. I don't know what's so hard about that. Like, if it's not your cup of tea, you don't have to.
Or don't drink it. Don't drink the tea.
Dude, if it's not your cup of tea, don't drink it. That is words to live by, Matt. Words
to
live by.
There we go. Because I mean, I'm just here to provide words of wisdom where I can. I just try to do my best for my friends and neighbors. That's all. but just to kind of go along with that, not to just, you know, get on my high horse or just, you know, stay planted on this soapbox, but with this being like, we're in a content boom, just like across the industry, just TV, movie, like we're getting so much good shit at such a high clip. Like, if this show ain't for you, just sit this one out. Another one's bound to be coming around the corner, like this show proves. Like, you could have easily been an Acolyte hater that just chose not to watch this show, and then when Skeleton Crew came out, that's where you pop back in. You know, just sit one out, pop back in. Now we here.
Like, and if you like it, you like it. You know, what I mean? Like there are options here. I think that's the other thing where, like, Star Wars is kind of doing this thing that I feel like is a bit outside of, you know, with Marvel, I feel like there was a time period where it felt like you had to watch everything. Star Wars has quite a few where you can pop in and pop out. Like, Obi-Wan didn't affect anything. You can just watch Obi-Wan. Doesn't have, like, it can only enhance your viewing experience.
I'm about to say, it just makes for a richer viewing experience of New Hope.
Yeah. And you can say that about Andor. You can say that about the Acolyte. Personally, I felt like that was like one where you could just pop in and, like, it doesn't have to, you know, really affect how you engage with the rest of the story, just because of where it is in the timeline.
I mean, if anything, it just highlighted the dogmatic view of the Jedi. You know, I love how, like, and this is such like. This isn't a revelation of what I'm about to say, but I enjoy how self-deprecating Star Wars has started to become in the regards to, like, that the Jedi really kind of suck. And I just like how more shit keeps coming out, and there's like, whether it's like past in the canon timeline, or like current timeline or future, like, we're just like picking up more and more shortcomings of the Jedi Order, and it just like it humanizes them, because, like, you know, as a kid, like, Jedi is just like, they're like gods, like
guardians of peace and justice throughout the galaxy.
you like hold them to like the highest esteem. Like, everybody saber fought with sticks like as kids,
and
like, you know,
for lack of a better term, you realize that they're human. right?
Yeah,
you know,
and
it's
I
what
love
it's what makes the story so compelling, in my opinion. Is that
1,000
they are faulty.
Yeah, and I feel like the more that they show that they just kind of be fumbling the bag, like the more I enjoy going back and watching the movies, because like when they do dumb shit, you know, before you would make excuses like, oh, they wouldn't do that. Like what, the Jedi? Like, but now it's just like, yeah, they got a history of bad decisions. The hubris,
the hubris, yeah. And then like you do get, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of mistakes, but then you can always look to the beacon of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
1,000%. 1,000. I mean, look, Ben is
lives up to what it is.
Ben is aces in my books.
Yeah.
Old Ben Kenobi does the pussy for me.
That man did it right.
Fact. Great beard. That's what sold it for me.
Ewan, Alec, James Arnold Taylor. You can't go wrong.
The true mark.
The trails of Obi-Wan.
The true mark of a master Jedi is a great beard. That's what it is. That's why Mace couldn't be the chosen. That's why Mace couldn't be the chosen one.
Stephen Stanton, who voiced Old Ben in that Rebels episode. Oh man, I'm lacking over here. But that has been our kind of like pre-Skeleton Crew hype train episode of A&E Are You Okay?
Can't wait to review that show with you, buddy. It's gonna be a
I'm super pumped. We have 1 week in between, and we are bringing on a new member of the team, Matt. So we're going to have them on next week talking about some of the Visions news that dropped. We figured we should dedicate a whole episode to that, a little palate cleanse before we dive into our Skeleton Crew like I guess recaps and reviews like we do for every Star Wars show. You can expect those episodes weekly on Monday, as we always do here at A&E Are You Okay, a Star Wars podcast, unless things get in the way because life sometimes, and we do it. We do what we can. But you can find us on Instagram at the letters ANI Are You Okay Pod on Instagram, and on Blue Sky we don't have an official account yet. However, I have been there championing the podcast, mostly doing Star Wars related things, at Mikey the Illest. Blue Sky, however, just what to search if you're on Blue Sky. Just and you'll see A&E Are You Okay in my tagline. You can also follow our sister podcast, Dragon Ball for Life, at TV4L pod or _pod on Instagram. We are actively as a team, I think, just kind of distancing ourselves from Twitter at the moment.
Yeah, but it's there.
We didn't delete the account. The same with A&E Are You Okay, but we're not really engaging there. And we will be coming to you from more places soon. But yeah, things are around the corner and in the works. And Matt, like you said, I can't wait to cover Skeleton Crew with you. And we've got a lot of Star Wars lined up in 2025, to say the least, with Star Wars Celebration around the corner and a release date for Andor on April 22nd.
Yeah, Andor World Tour, baby!
Andor World Tour. So we will be there.
And we won't be Andor.
What's my ticket? Anyways, can you close this bad boy out for us?
I sure can. Well, Animaniacs is like we say here in the galaxy, not so far away. It could be the Skeleton Crew. It could be Happy Hanukkah if, like myself, you were raised a Jew. It could be...
Why is your milk blue?
Shit, it could be Ray. Life could be a beach. But you guessed it. As long as there's no sand, Anakin's gonna be okay.
Be okay. May the force be with you, Matt.
And with you. Later, nerds.
Deuces.